Welcome back to the show. Thank you for however you may be listening and or watching this. We appreciate you checking us out and listening to what we've got to say about sports and beyond. We just ask that you guys, like and subscribe wherever you may be listening to this. Apple Podcast, through Anchor, YouTube, whatever it is. We just appreciate you taking your time to do that. So sadly, tonight I am flying solo once again. It has been about a month since we've been able to record. I caught the stupid virus, no idea how. That was a lot of fun. Losing taste and smell really sucked. Thankfully, it only lasted for about a day or so, and the weakness is finally wore off and finally back up and running physically, back to normal. But I'm gonna tell you, this virus stuff sucks. And tonight, Chris just isn't able to be with us, sadly, but we're going to make the best of it. So it's a Friday night, man. Friday night, about 8 o'clock. We're recording this and taking some time to hang out, man. Friday night, 8 o'clock, back when I was a kid, man, that was TGIF time. That was the time, man. That's back when media was not at your beck and call where you could just press a button and get whatever you wanted to. That's when you had to be in front of the television at that moment or you missed out. Yes, that is correct. I am old enough to remember a point in time where television actually turned off. You heard the Star Spangled Banner or national anthem, whatever you want to say, and then it went to just fuzz. I know that's hard to comprehend, but there was a point in time where television did just turn off. So hey, like tonight, 8 o'clock. This is where we normally be watching Urkel or Step by Step or man, I can't even think of all the rest. Full House, Boy Meets World was fantastic. Man, I can't even remember them all now, but that was a thing back in the day, and now we can just get whatever we want at any point. It's crazy where we've come to with YouTube and Netflix and beyond. So look, we've been out for about a month now. So there is a ton of stuff to pick up on and kind of rehash. So I'm gonna try to zoom through as much as I can here. We'll start off with the NFL because that's always my favorite. That's just by far my favorite sport there is to watch is the NFL. And we had a good run. Chris and I did the pick 'em all year to see who could get the most picks right each week. And I thought I had a really substantial lead, about 5 games at one point. And man, he cut it close enough. I was getting nervous towards the last week or two. I got lucky and was able to win the pick 'em between the two of us. I won it by 2 games. Not much to brag on considering how many I got wrong throughout the season, but we still had a really good time, and we're actually doing a pick 'em right now. He and I, we filled out brackets on our own to see who we thought would win the championship NFL, Super Bowl and such. And we were going through, since this weekend is the Super Wild Card and all that kind of stuff like that that's happening this weekend. We filled out our brackets separately, and sadly, we have identical brackets. So we didn't even, and we can't even brag about that we picked any steady winners. Both of us just chose chalk. We went down the line. Whoever was the higher seed, that's who we picked. So no shocker to anyone. We have the Chiefs winning it all. I guess, we're really stretching our football knowledge and just, it's probably a good thing we don't gamble or anything because you're not going to make any money picking that. But, that's just where we are. Mahomes and his talented offense is probably going to repeat. In my personal opinion, I think his toughest test, should it happen, should it get to that point, would probably be the Bills. I know that's not shocking, but, the Bills have got to they've got to beat the Steelers, I believe. That's who they have first. Let's see. No, excuse me. They have to play the Colts first. They have the Colts. Should they beat the Colts, they'll probably play the Steelers. Browns being Browns and not having their head coach doing their playing calls, they'll probably be playing the Steelers in the second round, and I believe the Chiefs will play the Titans, roll through that, and I think the Bills will beat the Steelers, and then the Chiefs will just roll on. I think they'll end up playing the Packers. I mean, literally, I chose. It's sad, and it's not even one of those things like when you do the NCAA bracket, you always think I've got to pick an upset somewhere because there's always an upset. But that's not always the case when it comes to professional sports. You have a ranking for a reason, and it's not someone's opinion. Your ranking is usually because you won those games and such. So it's not surprising we both have the Packers and the Chiefs in the playoffs, or excuse me, in the championship, in the Super Bowl, and we both have the Chiefs walking away with it. Not saying that they're going to run away with every game, as in they're going to blow everybody out of the water, but that's just kind of where we have it. Hey, now fantasy wise, we finally got to the end and got to the championship. And the championship game was my son James and I. And James had a stacked team, dude. It was ridiculous. He had one of those teams that just makes you mad because he didn't even check it all season. The only time he checked his roster was at the very end when he realized that, oh, I'm in the playoffs. And then he started messing around with his roster. But I mean, he drafted, and we laughed the night he drafted. We laughed a little bit at some of his picks. Like at one point he had like 2 defenses, and we were just like, what are you doing? The Joker ended up in the championship game. So I guess I can't argue with his picks too much, but he had a pretty stacked team. He had Kelsey, James Robinson, and a few other guys. That is just, he had a really scary team. I got lucky and managed to beat him by about 20 points in the championship. So hey, better luck next year, Chris. Maybe you'll try harder. I don't know. I love him, but he always starts strong. He'll do his draft, and most of the time he's asking me during the draft who to draft, and I always give him bad information. And I'm kidding. I don't give him bad information. I give him better information than I should. But then he just eventually just, I don't know what it is about his teams. They always end up injured or something happens. But that was a struggle this season because my guy did not show up. Ezekiel Elliott, thanks a lot. You had way too many cheeseburgers. You know, that whole keep eating. Slow down, buddy. Slow down. You're killing me between that and the fumbles. You were pretty bad this year, and I'm still upset about it. But hey, I won the championship regardless, not because of you, but in spite of you. But that's just how it works. But hey, that's what we got going on. We got the playoffs happening this weekend, and we just had, Chris and I had talked earlier in the season about, the hot seat with coaches that we thought might get fired, and a lot of the ones that we mentioned that were probably going to get fired have been fired. I mean, already we've seen this year during the season, we saw Bill O'Brien, which wasn't a shocker. They had to do something in that locker room. Then we have Dan Quinn, who got fired in Atlanta after blowing that 28-3 lead to my Patriots. It's amazing he held on to the job as long as he did. Matt Patricia, I mean, basically the whole front office went with him. And then we get to the final, what they refer to as Black Monday, and we saw Adam Gase and the Jets get fired. No shock. Doug Marrone fired in Jacksonville after going 1-15 this season. It's probably no shock, but they didn't exactly help him out a lot, getting rid of Leonard Fournette and basically just tanking on purpose this year. They were tanking for Trevor or losing for Lawrence, however you want to say it. That's where they were. But here's the question we'll have to ask later on. Is Trevor Lawrence still the first overall pick after that game we saw between him and Justin Fields? I think that's a legitimate question. I think that Trevor Lawrence is probably a can't miss prospect. I think you should take him, the size, athletic ability, and just overall arm talent. But I don't know, man. Justin Fields, I think, has to be in the conversation after the way he played against Clemson and their defense, throwing like 6 touchdowns in a playoff game when all the pressure was on, doing as well as he did. I think that Jacksonville does at least have to look at the man in Ohio to see what's up. And then, of course, we saw Anthony Lynn get fired in Los Angeles. I almost wanted to say San Diego. We saw Anthony Lynn get fired, even though they finished out the season pretty strong. It was a tough go, and it sucks for him because he finally got a quarterback. He's had Rivers all these years, and Rivers is better at talking than throwing. And now he finally gets Justin Herbert. Couldn't half get his team healthy at points, but that's what the NFL is, man. It's a cold business. They will get rid of you real fast if you're not producing the way you should. Personally, after what we saw, the fiasco in Philadelphia, where Doug Peterson benched Jalen Hurts, already crazy the fact that they benched Carson Wentz after investing as much money as they have in Carson Wentz. The fact that they benched him, went to Jalen Hurts, tells you how desperate they were. Jalen has played fantastic. He almost won me a championship in a separate fantasy football league. But then, of course, Doug Peterson benched him. Still mad about it. Still pretty salty. I needed Jalen Hurts to go off because my son JJ in another league just annihilated me. I had a 40-point lead going into the second week of the that round, and he came back and still won. I am really upset about it. Mike Evans' injury, pulling Jalen Hurts. I mean, it's pretty frustrating, but that's just how it works out at points. But I believe the fact that Doug Peterson did not get fired, I truly believe that the president, whoever, gosh, I can't even think. Howie Roseman's the owner, I think, and then I can't even think of the GM's name. Or I might even have those names switched around. But I really do believe that the word had to come down from on high that week that they were tanking on purpose. I don't know what the benefit was to tanking for them. They didn't move up, but like a couple spots. But I guess, you needed to get as high of a draft pick as you could because they could possibly be in full rebuild mode in Philadelphia. So I think that's the only reason Doug Peterson still has his job is because he was doing what he was told, because that's the only way it makes sense after doing a crazy maneuver like he did. And then, we've got to mention the craziness of this week. Could it be that Deshaun Watson is on his way out of Houston? Could it really be that crazy of a week that Deshaun Watson is asking for a trade? Is it shocking? I guess not. I mean, Bill O'Brien really messed that team up. I mean, they have no first round pick. They're supposed to have like the third overall pick. They don't have it because they used that to get Laramie Tunsil. That's worked out pretty good. Deshaun Watson wasn't getting hit as much, but I'm sure he'd rather have, DeAndre Hopkins still. I'm sure he'd rather have that third round pick or that third overall pick. I'm sure he'd really not even actually be in the situation where he's picking third. I'm sure he'd rather have a more competitive team. I mean, the guy had an unbelievable season, and now they're rebuilding everything. They're having to get a new GM, new coach. They have no draft picks to speak of, so to speak, nothing early on. So it's going to make it tougher to bring in some seriously, high talent. And then from what I understand, I guess it's just the generation that we're in. The reason that he's possibly going to ask for a trade is that he put his thoughts out there to ownership about who they should bring in as far as head coach, maybe who they should talk to about the GM situation. And it appears that everything that he suggested was completely ignored. The Texans decide to go back to the well that they've been trying to fish in this entire time. They go back to New England. They steal Nick Caserio. I'm not upset at all. I'm kidding. I am pretty upset. I am sad about it. But hey, shout out to Nick Caserio for finally getting his chance to step out of the shadows of Bill Belichick and to go make a name for himself. I'm sure he's going to do a fantastic job. He seems to be a pretty decent, gauge for talent and bringing in, especially undrafted guys. And that's definitely what they're going to need in Houston this year, is to find the diamonds in the rough, to find the people that they can bring in on the cheap, because they have no draft picks. And though they have some salary, they owe a lot of money to guys like JJ Watt and others who end up may getting cut. I don't know. But another situation, Watson asked for Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator in Kansas City, who obviously is doing a fantastic job there. He was asking for him to be considered for coaching. My understanding so far is that the Texans have not even bothered to interview Bieniemy at all, which is crazy. I don't understand how you do that. And that has nothing to do with the Rooney Rule. I don't want to get into that nonsense. Bieniemy has earned a chance to get interviewed. I mean, he's done a fantastic job with the offense. They're very creative. I think he deserves a chance to at least have a conversation. The fact that he hasn't got even a chance to speak, I don't even know what that says about your ownership and what they're trying to do. I don't know if they're trying to form the Patriots of the South, which obviously probably not, considering every indication is that the Texans are not even going to interview Josh McDaniels, which I can't blame them. He looked awful this year for the Patriots. Our offense was stagnant. Once again, that I've said it 1,000 times, we had a running back posing as a quarterback who cannot throw, and we have no receivers. So New England is rebuilding, and it's driving me nuts. And I don't know what to do. But hey, should Deshaun Watson be actually available, I am desperately, desperately asking Bill Belichick to trade whatever it is, trade whatever it takes to get a hold of Deshaun Watson to bring him to New England. Hey, is it going to take 5 first-round picks? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's just admit it, Bill. You're not great at drafting first-round guys. You're just not. We're not doing great. Hey, you did okay when you brought in when you brought in Isaiah Wynn. He's done pretty good. Can't stay healthy. Sony Michel, same thing. We did get a ring with those guys. So I guess technically Wynn wasn't starting that year. But, hey, Michelle helped us to get a ring. But since then, they're struggling. None of them can stay healthy. Our undrafted guys or our high draft picks are the ones that are really carrying a lot of stuff right now. N'Keal Harry, absolute bust. We can go even further back. Guys that have just been first round busts in just all kinds of problems. So you know what? I would not be upset of us trading like 5 first round picks in order to get somebody like Deshaun Watson, as Dabo calls him, the Michael Jordan of football. Let's bring him in. We need somebody desperately at that position who can throw, and he's already proven that he can win with almost no talent around him. Hey, guess what we have in New England? Almost no talent. So you know what? That means that we can get back into fighting for our division. Okay. The only people standing in front of us at this point are Josh Allen and Brian Flores, because who knows if he's even going to stick with Tua. New York is a bumbling mess. Are they going to keep Darnold? Are they not going to keep Darnold? You know what? Send a 7th round pick to New York right now. Go get Sam Darnold. 7th rounder. That's about it. We'll send him a 7th rounder only because it's New York. The only reason they'd accept it is because it's New York. And, I'm not a big fan of theirs, obviously. But hey, that's what's going on. There's some other guys that could be on this move, this offseason. There's a rumor that Matt Stafford might be on the move. I am in favor of that. Not that I have any problem with Stafford. I think he's extremely talented. He's been there for a long time. They're a middling team. They can't get it together. And I don't believe that it is Matt Stafford's fault. But at this point, they are at a point where they just need to probably blow it up and rebuild. But good luck to him, because Patricia did kind of stick him with a few bad contracts, Trey Flowers and all that, $18 million a year for a defensive end who doesn't even get high sack production. Hey, shout out to Bill Belichick for understanding when to fold it, know when to hold him, know when to fold him, and he got out of there at the right time and let Flowers walk and follow his defensive coordinator, and that has not worked out well. There's a rumor that Matt Ryan and Julio Jones are available. I don't know how you move Matt Ryan and his something like $100 million guaranteed over the next 3 or 4 years. I don't know how they do that. Can fully understand why Atlanta would want to do that. Are they competitive? Sure. Did you even come close to winning your division? Nope. No, not even close. So why would you keep shelling? I mean, just absolutely shelling money out to those 2 positions when they've proven they can win with Calvin Ridley and was it Gage? Is it Justin? It's probably not even Justin. Last name Gage, I think it was. Those guys are showing some serious talent that they can win with those guys, so they don't have to invest all the money that they have in Julio. But don't get me wrong, Julio's still a really good receiver. It might do him some good to end up in a new situation, a new guy throwing to him, a new exciting offense. Who knows? So, hey, those guys might be on the move. I'm sure there's a lot of other guys that are either going to be cut or that they're going to be on the move this year because – just basically because of different situations through COVID and people not being able to attend games or basically merchandise or sales for different reasons. The salary cap is going to plateau, if not go down. That's going to cause a lot of teams to be trying to move people around. I would not be shocked to see a guy like J.J. Watt or somebody cut with $17.5 million against the cap next year, but I don't think it's too bad if they cut him. It's not that he's not talented, but it's just because of salary cap issues. We see guys every year that are victims of salary cap. So this might be a situation where we start seeing some very talented people that are going to be on the move, which would not hurt my feelings. It gets, it makes it makes the off season that much more exciting when we see a lot of moves like that, a lot of big names jumping around and doing some things. And speaking of a few big names, let's jump around here. I want to jump to college football. Okay. Maybe it's not shocking to anybody else, but then we see Texas has fired Tom Herman after 4 seasons. They have fired Tom Herman, who, yeah, he couldn't get it done against Oklahoma, but he was putting together, I think maybe he was going to build some serious talent down there in Texas. It just hurt him that Lincoln Riley was doing so well. I think Lincoln Riley obviously took over a much better situation from Bob Stoops than what Tom Herman took over from Charlie. Oh my gosh, I've gone blank. What is his name? Charlie Strong. Charlie Strong. I don't think that Charlie Strong left the cupboard nearly as full as what Bob Stoops did for Lincoln Riley. And I mean, it's just one of those situations where I'm just shocked, honestly. And here's my thing: Tom Herman gets fired, Steve Sarkisian takes over. I can't blame Texas as far as bringing in Sark. Sark has done a fantastic job with Alabama. The hope is that he can recreate what he's done with Tua last year and now this year with Mac Jones and Najee Harris. And, good luck to them, because you definitely don't have the same talent. It's kind of ridiculous. You saw that recruiting class that had Heisman Trophy winner Devontae. Oh my gosh, why have I gone blank? Is it Devontae Smith? Please, God, tell me it's Devontae Smith that I have gone this blank. Okay, so Devontae wins the Heisman. Najee Harris wins like the Doak Walker. Alex Leatherwood wins like the Interior Lineman Award. I don't even know what it's called. Then you have Mac Jones, who wins the Davey O'Brien Award. I mean, you have like 4 guys from this recruiting class that are just absolutely taking home like all the awards. They're back in the national championship game. So yeah, amazing that Steve Sarkisian would have a good year as a coordinator with all of that talent on offense. Not even mentioning the fact that over the last couple of years, he's had Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs. I mean, Waddle didn't even play half the year because of an injury. And yet Sark managed just to spin that into one of the best jobs in college football. And because Tom Herman couldn't quite get it done against Oklahoma, and I don't know, man, I saw somebody tweet the other day that firing Tom Herman to go get Steve Sarkisian is like passing Ruby Tuesdays to go eat at Applebee's. It's the same thing. They're both offensive guys. So I don't know if you're going to have much of a difference, but good luck to Sark. I hope he can handle it a lot better than he did at USC. But what is amazing to me is that Tom Herman gets fired, but yet Jim Harbaugh signs an extension. Where's the logic in that? I don't understand. Okay. So Herman was at least competitive, in my opinion. He was at least competitive at Texas. He was in some stuff. Did he win as much as he should? Absolutely not. Texas has some ridiculous expectations. But Michigan, man, I don't understand that. He's not even come close to beating Ohio State. He can't beat Michigan State, and he somehow gets an extension. Does that say where Michigan is right now, that there's nobody better that they can bring in to replace Harbaugh, or is it just because he's a homer that he played there? Is there just some crazy loyalty? Because I just don't understand it. We didn't see that with Carolina and Matt Doherty. They let him go pretty fast because they didn't like what he was doing. Even though he played there, they got rid of him real fast and brought in Roy Williams, and worked out a little bit. I'm not as happy as I could be with right now with how my Tar Heels are playing, but it is what it is. So I'm just amazed. People like Tom Herman are getting fired at Texas, but Jim Harbaugh has managed to keep his job. And then we saw, of course, in the playoff games, we saw Notre Dame get smoked. No one was shocked about that, though I was shocked at how bad Clemson played compared to how great Ohio State played. I wonder if that will make Dabo a little more hesitant to say things like, a 6-0 team shouldn't be allowed into the playoffs because they didn't play as many games. Do I argue with his logic? Probably not. But was it something you should have said to put out there some bulletin board material for the other team? Probably not. Would it have really mattered? Not the way Clemson played. It probably would not have mattered whatsoever. Ohio State and Ryan Day, they just outdid Clemson in every facet of the game. And then, of course, I'm biased. You guys know I'm biased. I'm a Tar Heel fan all the way. Um, the opt outs this year, as far as guys that were opting out to prepare for the draft, or guys that were opting out because of COVID, man, it he really put a damper, it put a hurting onto the season for a lot of people. Now, look, I'm not throwing shade. I'm not talking junk. But we saw Michael Carter, Chaz Surratt, Javonte Williams, and De'Ami Brown, all four of those guys, which were three of our literal top guys on offense. Both of our running backs who had over 1,000 yards apiece. Javonte had like 22 or more touchdowns this year. Chaz Surratt was like first team as far as tackles and stuff like that. He was just losing those guys was very difficult. But the fact that they hung in there as long as they did with Texas A&M, really proud of Mac and what he's doing, even just in his second season back at Carolina, doing a great job. And I did see that a lot of guys have taken advantage of this year not counting. Some guys opted out. They jumped to the NFL. They know where they rank. They know how they are. There was not much that Michael Carter or Javonte or De'Ami could do to increase their draft stock if they had played in the Orange Bowl. So I can't fault those guys for making that decision. As a fan, did it hurt? Absolutely. I would have loved to have seen us win that game against Texas A&M, but I can't fault those guys for chasing their dreams and making sure that they can get the best situation possible for them physically, not risking injury. I can't blame them for that. It created an opportunity where some younger guys got they got a chance to play more. British Brooks and Josh Henderson, those guys got to play more at running back. We did see some younger guys like Josh Downs get more reps at wide receiver because De'Ami wasn't there. And then we definitely saw Eugene Asante, who got way more reps at linebacker because Chaz Surratt wasn't there. So, those were building blocks for the future. And then we see guys like Walston is coming back, Tamon Fox, the sack leader this year, he's coming back. Bo Corrales, and there were like one or two more guys. I think it was like five guys that could have, this was their senior year. They could have just moved on. But the kicker, Grayson has stuck around as well. And I'll just be honest with you, I'm excited about that. So from what I read stat wise, I guess it's not really stat wise, but knowledge wise, I think Carolina is going to return 21 out of 22 starters from the Orange Bowl. Man, that's fantastic considering the recruiting class that Mac had this year. I think he's building. My hope is that he can do the phrase that was stated. He wants to build a wall around. If Fedora tried this as well, didn't work out for him, but build a wall around the state. Stop letting top talent make its way to Clemson and beyond, and build a wall, keep them here, and build up this program. Man, I'm really hoping that we can take a dramatic step forward, which I know getting through the Orange Bowl is good, but losing to Florida State and losing to Virginia like we did, that was pretty tough. Those games were very tough in retrospect. So I'm hoping that Mac can put some stuff together and really take this team to the next level. We got to recruit some interior linemen, man. I think that was a big deal this year. Vahasik played fantastic. We got some young guys that are on their way up, but I did see some other guys that have aged out, that they're moving on. And I saw one guy, Zach, I'm not even saying his first name right. It's Gill. His last name is Gill, where he's leaving. Patrice Renee is transferring out. Toe Groves is transferring out. These guys have all entered the transfer portal. My understanding, I can't blame those guys. Toe Groves, he needs to get a chance to try to start somewhere. I didn't understand Patrice Renee. I thought he had a chance to take a step forward, but I guess the younger guys took over. That's the only way I can phrase that, is that they basically just took his job. I guess they were just younger and, I don't know, feisty or something, because I know that at the end of the season, Grimes was playing fantastic, especially in the Orange Bowl. He had an unbelievable rating after the Orange Bowl. And he literally was supposed to be a high school senior, and he was playing in the Orange Bowl and playing as fantastic as he was. And he could be something next year if we can get Storm Duck healthy, get him back out there. Man, I'm just ranting and raving about Carolina football. I apologize. That's just, for once, I'm excited. I've lived through many years of Carolina football absolutely sucking. Absolutely sucking. I had 1 year where Fedora got me kind of excited because I paid attention a little bit to sports, but I did not pay attention to sports nearly as much when Mac was there the first time, and he had the guys like Julius Peppers and put some guys in the NFL, and then it just kind of, man, it just fell off after Mac left. You had guys like John Bunting and people like that just, man, it was just struggle city. Butch Davis was trying to build it back up, but obviously we were paying people rather than playing people, so to speak. And that didn't work out well for us. And Fedora tried it, and for some reason he could not figure out how to coach a defense. And he made a heck of a player, I guess, so to speak, out of Trubinsky, got him to the NFL. But other than that, there's been nothing to talk about for Carolina football. So I'm excited the fact that we actually have something going on right now. Speaking of Carolina, man, I got to ask anybody, which I don't even know how many people that listen to this are Carolina basketball fans, but I got to ask, I'm asking for a friend or something. What is the deal with Roy Williams not being able to coach guards? I mean, seriously, what is the deal? We have won the last 2 games. Don't get me wrong. We beat Notre Dame and we beat Miami, a combined total of 4 points to beat them. Our guards look awful. We're on a constant rotation of who's starting, who's playing, who's doing what. Thank God Leaky Black looks like he's taking a step forward, because Garrison Brooks like he's taking a step backwards. I just don't know what's going on with the team right now. I'm hoping we can figure out some sort of rotation. I hope we can figure out something to give Caleb Love some confidence again, to get RJ Davis to settle down and stop turning the ball over. I mean, it's I don't know if it's the offense or, I mean, the spacing never quite looks good. I don't understand it. And maybe I don't know enough about basketball. I know we've been running the same basic plays at Carolina for forever. It's one of the only teams in the country that still runs the 2 big system that we run. Does it work at points? Absolutely. At points, you can absolutely put a hurting on guys on the inside where it looks like we're playing volleyball, just constantly getting up there for rebounds. Dayron Sharp, I can't even say his name, Dayron Sharp, and Armando Bacot are playing fantastic. I don't know what the deal is with Walker Kessler, why he's not getting the playing time that he should, in my opinion. I think he should be getting more playing time than he is right now. Is he playing fantastic? No, but that's the only way to really truly develop it, is to get onto the floor. I'm not sure what the deal is there. I know Sharp, has a lot to do with his energy. That's why he's been getting the starts. But man, the 1 through the 3, we look lost at points. Leaky, he's my God, he shot pretty good from the 3-point line the other day. But the rest of the team, like Love looks lost. Davis, they look like they're still trying to play high school ball, and they just keep waiting for the floor to open up a little bit so they can drive to the hole. But no one's really scared of Carolina shooting, so they just pack the paint. And I don't know what it is about the offense. At least, what's his name? Kerwin Walton. Walton is at least shooting well. I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see the fact that that he's able to basically be the shooter that we've needed. I mean, Kenny Williams was kind of that guy for a couple of years. We didn't have it last year. We had no shooting last year whatsoever. So I'm glad to see that Kerwin Walton's shooting well. Playtech is actually finally making some serious plays. It took him till senior year to finally look like he's halfway decent player on the roster. And so I'm kind of excited about that. Hoping we can take some steps forward, but we're going to get to people like Duke, and we're just going to struggle for some reason because we can't guard guards. That's for sure. We cannot guard a guard. That's what we saw against Notre Dame. Is what Duke is going to do exactly the same thing that Notre Dame did. They're going to spread the floor. They're going to pass it around, and we're going to help. We're going to overhelp somewhere, and we're going to leave a guy open at the 3-point line, and they're going to have like a 3 playing a 4 basically, and they're just going to shoot the lights out. Because if you play against Carolina, guess what? You're going to shoot the best 3-point game you've ever had. That's just the way it works every time. We help way too much in the post. We overcommit to that, and we leave somebody open at the 3-point line, and they have the game of their life. I was at a game a couple years ago. We were playing a small D1 school. I think it was like William and Mary or something. And I literally watched a guy shoot themselves into a win over Carolina at Carolina because we cannot guard the three. We cannot pass the ball. We cannot bring the ball forward. Our guards cannot create plays. We just lob it into the post and hope that they do something strong. And we cannot guard the 3-point line. It's maddening because it's the same problem every year. That's what I don't understand. If you have the same problem every year, there needs to be a change. I don't know if we've got to get another assistant in there. I know Hubert was brought in because they thought he could help with shooting. It ain't worked, guys. It ain't worked. I'm hoping we can bring somebody to the table, somebody with some fresh ideas. My God, Steve Robinson's been on that same seat for like 30 years. Has it worked? Yeah, it's worked 3 times, but I'm worried about next time. I'm worried about what we're doing going forward. We need some fresh ideas, some fresh something going on in that locker room because we are just flat out struggling when it comes to this. Kendall Marshall is on the bench. Kendall Marshall is there. How exactly do we not have progress when it comes to our point guards if Kendall Marshall's sitting there? He was an unbelievable passer, yet we can't pass now for anything. I mean, he wasn't a great shooter, but my God, he could pass. I don't know, guys. I'm ranting and raving at this point. I'm just kind of frustrated with how Carolina basketball has played this year. I'm hoping we can step our way up. I am excited to see that the fact is they are planning on having an NCAA tournament. Am I sad that we're not going to have any local games? Yeah, probably. But let's just be honest. We probably weren't going to get to go anyway. This virus mess has shut a lot of things down. And so at least they're going to form a kind of pseudo bubble and they're going to be playing out of basically Indiana. I don't know how. I know that every situation, every avenue that they listed where games are going to be played, it's all right there in Indiana. I can't tell you how far apart those settings are, but I'm just thankful that we're going to have some sort of a tournament. I'm praying it works. I'm praying they can figure out a way to get everybody tested, to get everybody quarantined and everybody into a bubble, so to speak, in order to have a successful tournament. That's what I desperately want, man. I don't see a reason why this can't happen. The NBA proved that you can make it happen. These guys are basically doing all online classes right now anyway. Let's make it happen. Let's figure it out. And I saw right, and I'm a huge basketball guy as well. Football is probably my main sport, but basketball, I love basketball as well. I saw this the other day, and it just made me laugh. Um, Last night, Kyrie Irving did not play, and apparently he did not even make the trip, so he's not even going to play in Memphis tonight either, because he just didn't didn't feel like it. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, what? How are they paying you like 30 plus $1 million a year? You're supposed to be the team leader and you didn't play tonight just because you didn't feel like it. Let me just tell you, if I told my boss that I wasn't coming into work today because I didn't feel like it, my boss is one of the nicest people in the world. I might be looking for a new job if I'm saying something stupid like that. Between him burning incense or whatever that crap was on the sideline, between him calling the media pawns, between him just being flat earth minded that he's always been, the idea of just skipping games because you just don't want to do it. I'm sorry, man. I would probably have to try to figure out a way to move this Joker, probably have to figure out a way to find someone else. You know, I don't know, man. Maybe you trade him for John Wall or something. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's a fix. You know, Kyrie's probably more talented. The John Wall, they both get hurt about the same amount, so I don't know. But I'm not a fan of this guy. I don't like how this is going. I know the Ball brothers are supposed to be playing tonight, so I'm hoping that LaMelo can get the edge on Lonzo, because I'm hoping my Hornets can start building towards the future here. I'm hoping that LaMelo is not a bust. You know, that's just my hope, man, because Michael Jordan's got a tendency to draft busts, And I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of the Adam Morrisons, the Cody Zellers. I'm sick and tired of all this. I want us to hit something. I'm hoping Mitch Kupchak can take us a step forward for the love of Jesus. I'm hoping we can start doing something. But hey, that's just my opinion. I know I've been rambling on for like 40 minutes about different sports and different situations, but man, I'll just tell you, I am thankful that we still have sports in this situation, in this craziness, because I'm hoping that sports can continue to be what it's been for me. And that's just a getaway, man. A getaway from all the nonsense. That's just how I view sports, man. I don't want to talk politics. I don't want to talk any of this other stuff. Do I hate how it looks in the world today? Absolutely. Do I have any control in it? Absolutely not. So I kind of look to sports as my way to get away from it all. And so I'm hoping that we can just find a way to just enjoy things again and just, live it up and make the best of this madness of being stuck home at points, not being able to do like we want to, and, kids not going to school. Let's just find the happiness that we can through sports and some other media and just enjoy as much as we can. So, if that is an unpopular opinion for you, I apologize, but I don't know what else to say or do as far as that goes. Maybe I just probably shouldn't have said it. I don't know. Hey, hoping that Chris will feel better soon. Hoping we can get him back on here again. I got to send a shout out down to Mississippi and get my cousin Ben on here again so we can talk some more junk about basketball and some other stuff just to have some fun. Hey, if you guys have thoughts or comments or anything that you want us to talk about, or you want to get on here and rant and rave with us, let us know. We're just, having some fun, and we'll see where we go from here. So you guys have a fantastic time, and we'll see you next time.